In the dimly lit corridors of an underground facility, Ava surveyed the makeshift command center that had become their sanctuary. Flickering screens displayed snippets of long-lost Earth, interspersed with the grim reports of the Varkith Empire's Relentless campaign. The room buzzed with a sense of urgency as the remaining survivors of humanity, scientists, engineers, and soldiers, huddled around a central table, poring over blueprints and schematics. Ava, a seasoned leader with a fierce determination, clenched her fists. She had watched too many friends fall to the invaders, their homes reduced to ash and rubble. Humanity's hope rested on their shoulders, and she felt the weight of that responsibility bearing down on her. She looked into the faces of her comrades, each marked by loss yet ignited by a shared passion for revenge and survival. A sudden burst of static interrupted the murmurs. A holographic image flickered to life above the table, displaying an ancient AI system that had lain dormant for centuries. The AI's voice, though mechanical, resonated with an eerie familiarity. "Welcome, descendants of Earth. I am Nexus, the guardian of humanity's legacy. I possess knowledge of a powerful weapon designed to combat the Varkath. However, its location remains hidden, buried deep within the ruins of your former world." A wave of hope washed over the room. Ava's heart raced as she processed the information. A weapon that could turn the tide, it was precisely what they needed. She stepped closer, her eyes locked on the holographic projection. "Nexus, tell us where we can find this weapon. We need to reclaim our planet and avenge those we've lost." The AI responded, its voice echoing ominously. "The weapon lies beneath the remnants of your cities, in a place known as the Heart of Earth. To access it, you must first gather the 3 key components: the core crystal, the energy matrix, and the activation code. Only together will they unlock the weapon's true potential." Ava nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. They could do this. They had to. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, she felt a surge of adrenaline. She turned to her team, determination etched on her face. "We split into 3 squads. Each team will seek one of the components. Time is of the essence. The Varkath won't remain oblivious to our presence for long." As the team dispersed, Ava felt a pang of fear mixed with excitement. Each mission carried its own risks, but they could no longer afford to hide. They needed to reclaim their world, and with it, their spirit. She gathered her squad, which included Zane, a brilliant engineer, Lara, a sharpshooter with unmatched accuracy, and Ryan, a strategic mastermind. Together, they set off towards the surface, where the echoes of their past whispered in the wind. Emerging from the facility, they were met with a desolate landscape. The skies, once blue, were now shrouded in thick gray clouds, remnants of the Varkath's devastation. Ruins of buildings jutted from the ground like broken teeth, a haunting reminder of what was lost. As they made their way through the rubble, a deep sense of purpose filled Ava. Each step was a vow, a promise to those who had fallen. Suddenly, the distant roar of Varkath ships shattered the silence. Ava's heart raced. They had to hurry. The enemy was closer than she had anticipated. She signaled her team to move swiftly, their eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of danger. This was just the beginning of their quest, and the stakes had never been higher. Humanity's resurgence hinged on their success, and they were ready to confront whatever came their way. As the Vanguard descended deeper into the heart of a sprawling alien trading post on Gorgon IV, the air thickened with tension. Ava felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. This bustling marketplace, a hub of intergalactic commerce, was teeming with various species, their chatter blending into a cacophony of languages and alien dialects. She had hoped to find allies here, but there was no telling how deep the roots of betrayal could run. Zane, scanning the crowd with his keen eyes, whispered to Ava, "We need to stay alert. The Varkath are known to use these places for espionage. There's no telling who we can trust." Ava nodded, her instincts honed by years of survival. The team maneuvered through the throngs of beings, their senses heightened. Alara led the way, her hand never straying far from her weapon, while Ryan stayed close to Ava, strategizing their approach to the local factions. The marketplace was a maze of stalls offering exotic goods, but their focus was on securing allies to bolster their fight against the Varkath. They approached a stall run by a shrewd-looking trader known as Creel, reputed for his connections within the underbelly of the galaxy. He was a slender creature with glimmering skin, darting eyes, and a sly grin that hinted at ulterior motives. Ava leaned forward, speaking with purpose. "We need information about the Varkath, and we're willing to negotiate." Creel raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Information doesn't come cheap, my friend. But I might know of some humans who aren't too fond of the Varkath's current rule. However, I'd also have some associates who may want a piece of you before we strike a deal." Before Ava could respond, a sharp gasp erupted from the crowd. A group of syndicate enforcers, known for their brutal methods, had entered the market. Clad in black armor, they exuded a sense of menace. Their leader, a tall figure named Talon, strode forward with a predatory grace. Ava's heart raced as she recognized the insignia on their armor. They were here to hunt down the Vanguard. In a heartbeat, chaos erupted. Talon pointed a finger at Ava, his voice booming above the clamor. "There they are, the so-called saviors of humanity. Capture them." Without hesitation, Ava shouted for her team to scatter. Zane activated his cloaking device, blending into the shadows, while Ilara took position, her rifle aimed at the approaching enforcers. Ryan, thinking quickly, threw a smoke bomb into the crowd, creating a thick cloud that enveloped them. Amidst the confusion, Ava found herself separated from her team, instinctively ducking behind a stall. She could hear the distant shouts of her comrades as they fought to evade capture. The syndicate had underestimated them, and that would be their downfall. As she maneuvered through the chaos, Ava spotted Creel watching with a mixture of fear and amusement. "You didn't tell me they'd be here," she accused, stepping out of her hiding spot. Creel shrugged, his eyes wide. "I may have miscalculated the level of interest your presence would attract. But if you want to survive, you'll need to act fast. The syndicate will sell you out to the Varkath for a pretty penny." Ava clenched her fists, anger surging through her. "Then let's turn the tables." She grabbed Creel by the collar and pulled him closer. "You're going to help us, or I'll make sure the Varkath know where to find you." Realizing the gravity of the situation, Creel nodded. "Fine. There's an escape route through the back of the market. I can guide you, but you'll owe me." As they navigated through the back alleys of the trading post, the sounds of battle echoed behind them. Ava's heart raced. They had to reunite with the others before it was too late. Ryan and Alara were capable fighters, but she knew they couldn't hold off the syndicate forever. Finally, they reached a secluded exit. As they emerged into the alleyway, they spotted Zane waiting, panting but unharmed. "Where's Ryan?" he asked urgently. Ava felt a surge of dread. "He's still inside. We can't leave him behind." Just as she prepared to turn back, the entrance exploded in a shower of sparks. Talon emerged, flanked by several syndicate members, their expressions twisted with malice. "Did you really think you could escape?" he sneered. Ava drew her weapon, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The game had changed. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was a fight for their lives and the future of humanity. The Vanguard regrouped in a hidden alcove, their adrenaline still pumping from the narrow escape. Zane quickly patched up Alara's minor wounds from the scuffle, while Ava surveyed the small, flickering holographic map spread out before them. It displayed the location of the Varkath supply depot they had identified during their intel gathering on Gorgon IV. This was their opportunity to strike back and disrupt the enemy's operations. "According to our sources, this depot is pivotal for their war efforts," Ryan said, his finger tracing a route through the map. "If we can hit them hard and fast, we might throw their supply lines into chaos. Ava nodded, her eyes gleaming with determination. We need to move quickly. They'll be expecting retaliation after the Syndicate attack, but they won't anticipate us launching an offensive. It's time to show them what humanity is capable of. The team rallied together, bolstered by the urgency of their mission. They crafted a plan that relied on stealth and precision. Their goal was not only to dismantle the depot, but to leave the Varkath with a message. Humanity was rising from the ashes. As night fell, the vanguard stealthily approached the depot, hidden among the shadows of the rocky terrain. The facility loomed ahead, heavily guarded and bristling with energy barriers and automated defenses. Zane activated his advanced hacking device, designed to disable the perimeter security. As the green lights blinked in response, he exchanged glances with Ava. "Ready when you are," he whispered, his fingers dancing over the controls. Ava inhaled deeply, her resolve strengthening. "Let's move." They slipped past the barriers like phantoms, moving with a grace born of desperation and training. The inside of the depot was filled with crates of munitions, vehicles, and weaponry. The team split up, each member knowing their task. Ilara was on sniper duty, positioned at a vantage point, while Ryan and Zane moved deeper into the facility to locate the main control room. As they advanced, an unexpected alarm blared through the depot. Red lights flooded the area, and the sound of boots echoed ominously. Ryan cursed under his breath, gripping his weapon tighter. They must have spotted us. Ava turned to Zane. "How much time do we have before they lock down the facility?" "Less than 2 minutes," Zane replied, his voice tense. "Then we need to make this count. Let's move," Ava urged, leading the charge toward the control room. Ilara, stationed above, fired at the guards rushing toward them, her shots precise and unerring. "I've got your 6. Keep pushing," she shouted, her voice echoing in the chaos. As Ava and Zane reached the control room, they burst through the door, weapons drawn. Inside, Varkath soldiers were frantically trying to activate the lockdown sequence. Zane wasted no time, hacking into the control panel, his fingers a blur on the screen. "I can disable their communications and set the depot to self-destruct, but I'll need a few moments," he said, focusing intently on the interface. Ava covered him, engaging in a fierce firefight with the incoming Varkath soldiers. Each shot fired was a blend of fury and determination, a testament to humanity's spirit. She could hear the distant explosions outside as Ilara continued to create chaos from her perch. Finally, Zane shouted, "I've got it. Self-destruct in 3 minutes. Let's get out of here." "Ryan, cover us," Ava yelled, ushering Zane toward the exit. Ryan nodded, positioning himself at the doorway, firing at the approaching soldiers. With a surge of adrenaline, the team raced through the corridors, retracing their steps. The depot was alive with chaos as alarms blared and explosions rocked the structure, a symphony of destruction heralding their escape. As they reached the exit, Ava glanced back at the chaos unfolding inside. The depot was crumbling, and she felt a surge of triumph. They had dealt a significant blow to the Varkath, but the fight was far from over. They emerged into the night, breathless and exhilarated. The distant flames illuminated the sky, casting flickering shadows on their faces. Humanity's resurgence had begun, and with every step, they moved closer to reclaiming their world. Ava could sense the tide shifting. They were no longer the hunted but the hunters, and the Varkath would soon learn the true meaning of resistance. As dawn broke over the smoldering ruins of the Varkath supply depot, the vanguard regrouped at a hidden rendezvous point. The air crackled with the energy of their recent victory, yet an unsettling weight lingered in the atmosphere. Ava glanced around at her team, Zane, Ilara, and Ryan, each still buzzing with adrenaline, but marked by the fatigue of their near escape. "This was a significant blow," Ryan said, his voice a mix of triumph and concern. "But we need more than small victories. We must find the heart of Earth and unlock that weapon." Zane, still catching his breath, nodded. We should gather intel on the next steps. There might be more to this weapon than we realize. Ava's heart raced at the thought. Let's dig deeper. Nexus mentioned it was tied to a long-lost civilization. If we can find more information, we may uncover the weapon's true potential. They activated the holographic interface that Zane had salvaged from the depot, displaying a constellation map. The shimmering lights represented various planets, and one in particular pulsed brighter than the rest. Exirath, an ancient world long thought to be devoid of life. Elara, what do you know about Exirath? Alva asked, feeling a mix of anticipation and dread. Elara squinted at the map. It was once a thriving planet before the Varkath laid waste to it. It's rumored to be the location of ancient ruins. Some say the remnants of a powerful civilization still linger there, perhaps even the secrets of the weapon. Then Exirath is our next destination, Ava declared, her voice steady. We need to uncover whatever knowledge that world holds. As they prepared to depart, Ava felt a sudden surge of doubt. The path they were taking seemed riddled with danger, yet they had no choice. The fate of humanity depended on their next move. They boarded their small but agile ship, the Phoenix, and set a course for the desolate planet. The journey through space was fraught with tension, but their spirits lifted as they neared Exirath. The planet's surface was a patchwork of barren landscapes and crumbling structures, remnants of a glorious past. The sight struck a chord within Ava. It felt like a haunting reminder of what they were fighting to preserve. Upon landing, the team disembarked, their senses alert. A chilling wind swept across the desolation, carrying whispers of the civilization that once thrived here. They made their way toward the ruins, the crumbling stones standing as testament to the passage of time. As they explored, they stumbled upon a vast chamber adorned with ancient glyphs and symbols. Zane approached the wall, his eyes wide with fascination. These inscriptions, they might be a record of their history. Elara and Ryan joined him, deciphering the symbols with growing excitement. Look here, Elara said, tracing her fingers along the wall. It speaks of a cataclysmic event that led to their downfall. The Varkath were not just conquerors, they obliterated civilizations that opposed them. Ava's heart sank as the implications sank in. They've been at this for centuries. This isn't just about Earth, it's a campaign of annihilation against all who resist. Suddenly, a low hum resonated through the chamber, and a holographic figure flickered to life at the center of the room. It projected the likeness of an ancient guardian, its features ethereal and wise. You have awakened me, descendants of Earth. I am the keeper of knowledge. To wield the weapon of old, you must confront the truth of your past. The guardian's voice echoed ominously. The Varkath are not mere invaders. They are the result of their own dark history. They were once a race that fell into madness, driven by fear and greed. To stop them, you must understand the cycle of destruction. Ava's breath caught in her throat. The revelation felt heavy, an overwhelming burden of responsibility. But how do we break this cycle? To forge a new path, you must unite those who have suffered, the guardian intoned. Only through understanding and alliance can you hope to dismantle the Varkath's power. With that, the hologram faded, leaving the team in a thick silence. Ava looked around at her comrades, their expressions mirroring her own turmoil. They were no longer just fighting for vengeance. They were fighting for a future that could end the endless cycle of destruction. The stakes had escalated, and they would need to rally not just humanity, but all oppressed beings to stand against the encroaching darkness. The atmosphere was charged with urgency as the vanguard emerged from the ancient ruins of Exirath, their minds swirling with the Guardian's revelations. The weight of their mission had shifted dramatically. They were no longer just a resistance group seeking vengeance. They were the bearers of hope, tasked with breaking a cycle of destruction that had persisted for centuries. Elva gathered her team outside the ruins, the barren landscape stretching before them. "We need to share what we've learned," she said, determination radiating from her. "If we're going to unite those oppressed by the Varkath, we need allies willing to stand with us." Zane nodded, already activating the ship's communication systems. "We have contacts across several systems: refugees, rebels, anyone who has suffered under the Varkath. If we can rally them, we might be able to form a coalition." As the ship's systems hummed to life, Ryan began sending messages, each one a lifeline thrown to those who had lost hope. The messages spread like wildfire through the networks of resistance fighters, urging anyone who would listen to join the vanguard in their fight for freedom. In the days that followed, they waited, anxiety mixing with anticipation. The news of their victories and the ancient knowledge they had unearthed spread rapidly, igniting flames of rebellion across the stars. Messages began pouring in from various factions: Wolven traders, the Surian fleet, and even disgruntled former Varkath soldiers who had witnessed the Empire's brutality firsthand. Finally, the day of the summit arrived. Ava stood on the bridge of the Phoenix, her heart pounding as ships from every corner of the galaxy filled the skies above Exarath. They had managed to gather an unlikely alliance: different species, cultures, and backgrounds united by a common goal: to bring down the Varkath Empire. As the assembled leaders convened in the central chamber of the Phoenix, Ava felt a surge of hope. One by one, representatives spoke of their struggles and losses, painting a vivid picture of the devastation wrought by the Varkath. They shared stories of resilience, of families torn apart, and of communities rising against the tyranny of their oppressors. Then it was Ava's turn to speak. She stood before the gathered leaders, her voice steady yet impassioned. "We have witnessed the destruction of our worlds, but we are not powerless. Together, we can forge a new path. The Varkath thrive on fear and division, but we have the strength of unity. We know their history, their weaknesses. It is time to turn the tide." The room erupted into applause, a cacophony of support and resolve that filled Ava's heart with fire. They were ready to fight, to reclaim their worlds. The Alliance quickly coalesced into a battle plan, strategizing their assault on the Varkath stronghold, a heavily fortified planet called Kareth Prime, the center of their operations. With the combined forces of their newfound allies, they would launch a coordinated strike aimed at dismantling the Empire's power. As they set their course for Kareth Prime, Ava couldn't shake the feeling that this was their last chance. They were on the precipice of something monumental, a fight not just for survival, but for the very soul of the galaxy. The day of the assault arrived, and the skies filled with ships of every shape and size, a magnificent display of unity against a common foe. Ava stood at the helm of the Phoenix, the bridge buzzing with energy and determination. "On my mark," she instructed, her heart pounding in her chest. As the countdown reached 0, they surged forward, a wave of defiance crashing against the Varkath defenses. Explosions lit up the sky, and the sound of conflict resonated through the air. Ava fought alongside her allies, each battle cry echoing the resolve they had forged together. As they pushed through the Varkath lines, she felt an unbreakable bond form among them, a shared purpose that transcended their differences. Finally, as they breached the heart of Kareth Prime, Ava faced the Varkath commander, a figure cloaked in malice. In that moment, she understood the stakes. This was not just a fight for revenge, it was a battle for the future of countless worlds. With one decisive strike, Ava dismantled the commander's defenses, and the tide of battle shifted. As the last remnants of the Varkath fell, a cheer erupted among the allied forces. The Varkath Empire, once a seemingly insurmountable force, lay broken. Standing amidst the debris of their former oppressors, Ava felt the dawn of a new era. They had reclaimed their worlds, their legacy. Together, they would rebuild, forging bonds that would last for generations. Humanity and their allies would rise from the ashes stronger and more united than ever. The galaxy was alive with hope, and the cycle of destruction had finally been shattered.